Okay, we are live on Facebook now for Spotlight Sunday with Karen. I'm super excited for this one. I love the topic that you came up with. The title of it is freaking amazing. So I'm super excited to dig in. Before we do that though, I would love it if you would just take a second and introduce yourself for us, Karen, and let us know just who you are, first of all, and about your business and why you do what you do, all the good stuff. While you do that, I'm going to pull this up and make sure I can see comments. So everyone that's watching, tell us hi.
Right. So I'm Karen. I am the face and voice and heart behind the Happy Healthy Moms Tribe on Facebook. It's just a Facebook group. It's a free group for supporting moms and becoming their happiest, healthiest version of themselves. I started this journey. I'm a certified health and life coach. And I started this journey because I was in trouble. I was recovering. Well, I was dealing with postpartum depression after my last son was born. And I had the medication from my doctor, but I knew that my lifestyle needed to change. I knew that I could be doing more to support myself, and that pills were not the answer for me at that time.
Yeah.
So I dove in and I did the research and I got my certifications, and it changed my life. And so I'm really passionate about helping other moms figure out ways to change their lives so that they can be just more present, happier, and healthier for their families and themselves.
I love it. I love it. That's so good. I love the ones that are like the really deep personal connections like that. It just makes everything so much easier on your end, first of all, to talk about, but just, yeah, it bleeds through in everything that you do. So I'm really excited for you to hear that. Yeah. Okay. So let's dig in first before we get into the juicy, good content. I always ask everybody on Spotlight Sunday, just what is your definition of branding? What does it mean for you and your business?
I mean, I think it's just what you're known by, right? Like and I hadn't really thought about my branding a whole lot other than that. Like, it's just that the personality aspect, like what it is that sets me apart and makes me different from other coaches. And then I did your archetypes quiz, and it said I was a caregiver, and I was like, oh yeah, that's
it. It's perfect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So branding to me is like just like bringing in small aspects of my personality that make my message a bit unique. And it is like, especially with coaching is one of those things, you know, that you might have two people who went through the same course at the same time, but they have a totally different approach and they get similar results, but they just do it with a different taste.
Exactly. I love it. And that's kind of how I always word stuff when I'm talking about like competition, right? There's no such thing as competition because of that. Like, no matter what you're teaching, nobody can teach it the way that you can. So exactly. I love it. I love that definition. And I love the quiz. I feel like the caregiver fits perfectly with like your intro and all those things you said. That's like, I love it. I love when the quiz is spot on like that.
It was super accurate.
Good. I'm so glad to hear it. That thing is so much fun. I love that quiz. Well, cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to shut up now. This is the Karen show. So I'm super excited to dig into your content. Like I said, the title alone is amazing. So let's do it. Let's just hear what you want to share today.
So I just really feel like moms today are sort of facing, and it's not just moms today. Moms have throughout history faced this overwhelming responsibility of caring for their family and carrying the mental and the physical load and the emotional load of the caring for the whole family on their own. Not that they don't have partners necessarily in that, but it's different for a mom. I think we can all agree. And I think that as moms, one of the first things that really changes for us personally once we have children is our focus shifts, and we no longer pay attention to what's going on in our bodies or in our brains. We're all focused on the heart and the hormones that come with like that new little life that's in your arms and so fully depending on you. You hear my children in the background. And so everything gets wrapped up in that. And it's great at first because you get, you know, the oxytocin and those beautiful love making, like bonding hormones that come with your new little baby. And then the days turn into weeks and the weeks turn into months, and all of a sudden it's a cumulative effect of not sleeping at night, not doing anything for yourself because you're so wrapped up in this new little life. It's all the responsibility, and you're not eating properly anymore. You're probably not drinking enough water. And I really, really believe that our physical and our mental and emotional health are all really intrinsically connected to each other.
Absolutely.
So for example, like we can do all the workouts, we can eat all the healthy food. If we're not doing anything that's just for pleasure for ourselves, we're not likely to get the results that we really want from making those sacrifices. And if they feel like sacrifices, that's going to make it like everything just more stressful, and stress is the antidote to happiness. So we need to really focus on pleasure. So I sort of approach my clients with 3 pillars. So, and excuse my undone nails. They're all because I'm
totally fine.
I don't get my nails done anymore.
This is real life right here. This is what Spotlight Sunday is all about.
Yes. So, I always say like health, happiness, and balance.
Okay.
So we need to be able to do all the things and meet our responsibilities, but we need to be healthy and happy so that we can do those things. You know, that you can't pour from an empty cup is a pretty common saying, and it's pretty common for a reason.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
So paying attention to what foods fuel your body versus what foods, you know, like meet that need in that moment when you're hungry and you know, like you need something to give you energy, but then make you feel yucky after. Mm-hmm. Figuring that out is really important. I start with veggies all the time. Increase your vegetable intake, and you're probably going to get like immediate results just based on that. And water. I always say, this like
veggies and water.
Can't go wrong there. More water. If you can't eat more veggies, drink more water. If you can't do anything else for yourself.
Everybody can drink more water.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy, right? Incorporating that. So, if people need ideas and tips around how to do that for themselves, hit me with that, because I've got lots of ideas from that.
Cool. Yeah. So, maybe just like maybe we can share like your top favorite one or something, and then people that are watching too, put in comments. Let me just give my little spiel real quick, because we do have a ton of new people in this group right now from the challenge that we did last week. So for those of you that are new or are watching the replay and haven't been on a Spotlight Sunday yet, these are like ask questions, just like we did on the challenge all week. Ask questions, get feedback. A lot of times people do watch replays on Spotlight Sunday because it's Sunday and real life takes over, right?
Absolutely.
But go ahead and put in any questions, and Karen can come back and answer anything. So
absolutely.
For now, let's just maybe like your top favorite one or something.
So I just carry a Contigo water bottle around with me all day long. And I measured it out so that I knew I know how many times I have to refill that bottle a day to get my minimum hydration for the day. And so if I know that if I'm refilling that bottle 3 times throughout my day, I get all the water that I need. And that's not hard. Doing that is not difficult. But if you go from never drinking water to all of a sudden paying attention and actually doing it, that can be challenging. So having a way to judge that. When I started, I would take a dry erase. Check your fridge first. Don't do this. You're not sure. But I would take a dry erase marker and actually mark on my fridge how many times I was refilling my cup.
I love that.
Because we had just a water dispenser in the fridge.
Yeah.
So I knew how many times I had to do it to get my water in for the day. Yeah. And then I would just keep track that way.
I love that.
Another way to do
when I worked in corporate, I had my Fitbit. So I would every time it told me to walk, I would go refill my water cup. And then when I started working from home, I totally quit drinking water. I didn't realize it. So I spent $1, I think, on this app, and it will pop up and say, take a water break, and make my whole screen dark for 15 seconds.
Awesome.
Drink your water. It's the best thing. This is the best $1 I've ever spent.
That's fabulous. Yeah. Increasing your water does so much for you. It's not just about hydration. It's about balancing your blood sugar. It's about improving your digestion. It's clearing that brain fog out. We don't realize how much water our brains really need. And most people are chronically dehydrated.
I believe that.
And that's not a joke. Like the majority of people do not drink enough water and they are chronically dehydrated and they don't even know it. So if you're going to do one thing for yourself to help yourself that the future self will thank you for, drink more water.
I love it. I love it. So how much do you recommend everybody drinks?
That's a great question. So I generally like to say, like, take your weight and divide it in half.
Okay.
And that's the number of ounces that you need to drink in a day.
Cool. Okay. That's easy enough.
So yeah, it'll be a little bit different for every person, and you'll figure it out. Like that's like a goal, right? And if you start there and you're like, okay, no, like, and you're always going to experience an increase in like bathroom trips right away because you're processing that. Eventually it will slow down and balance out. And of course, you know, as moms, some of us have pelvic floor issues too, that, you know, we haven't really regained all that strength yet. So there's all those kind of things to consider. But honestly, running to the bathroom 4 times a day, or even a lot more times a day, isn't a huge sacrifice to make in the long run of feeling better and feeling more awake. And it will balance out, and it might take longer than you want it to, but use those bathroom breaks for you time.
There's a good tip right there.
And don't feel guilty about it. I promise you, they will be okay for the 1.5 or 2 minutes it takes for you to empty your bladder and wash your hands. It's okay.
I love it. And that's so true.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. It was like, they're like, you know, because they're like reaching under the door. You can see little hands, they're banging and crying. And it's like, you know what? I'm allowed to go to the bathroom and not have to look you in the eye right now. That's okay. It's okay.
I love it.
So health and balance and joy I was talking about. So as far as balance, like that's part of my balance thing too, right? Like being intentional about creating moments that are sacred for yourself is really important. Yeah. So whether it's in the bathroom with the door closed for those few minutes and just taking some deep breaths, hopefully of fresh air, and like letting some of that tension go so that you can reset and go meet their needs from a place of calm rather than like stress and anxiety. I'm a big fan of essential oils. I use them for everything in every way all the time. So I use my oils like crazy to help me like reset throughout my day all the time.
Yeah. Me too. I got my little diffuser over here.
And it's doTERRA.
Yep.
So yes, essential oils are really powerful, and the science behind them is incredible. If anyone's like, oh, that's too woo for me, it's just, you know, so even if it does just smell nice, it smells nice, and that is something you can do for yourself, healthy and going to help you like reset yourself a little bit when you're
that's a great point too. And I love that you worded that just that way. We've had a previous Spotlight Sunday, Tara, come in, and she does doTERRA stuff, and that was the title of her Spotlight Sunday, was like something about like how it's not just a bunch of hokey woo woo shit. Like emotional aromatherapy was her title.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much science behind it. It's incredible.
I love it.
So let's see, balance. What else can we do for balance for ourselves? Journaling is huge. If you can, I think as moms, we focus so much, and I talked about this at the beginning, we focus so much on the needs of other people. And then as our babies start to grow, and they're not babies, but they're toddlers, and they start to try to communicate with us in different ways, it takes a lot of energy to focus on figuring out what they need and trying to interpret what they're telling us, right? And I mean, that happens from day one, but as they get older, their needs get more complex. So that takes more energy from us. So journaling is a great way to get back to figuring out what you need. And I know for me, I had a really hard time identifying what was fun for me. What did I want to do? And I knew that I didn't want to do the things that I normally would want to do. Because I was so exhausted and I had no energy for that. And it felt like a sacrifice to go and spend the energy doing the fun thing, knowing that I would come home and lose more sleep because we were out of our routine with our baby. And then I would pay for it for like a whole week. That was really a struggle for me. So journaling was really pivotal in helping me to reconnect with who I am and what I wanted. And then once I could identify that, I could figure out ways to prepare myself better for that event or whatever else, right? Like when I'm reminding myself why I'm doing it.
So do you recommend like certain prompts when journaling, or do you like to just do just whatever comes out type journaling, or what would you tell a client, I guess, if they were just getting started?
I think asking yourself a question is a really good way to get started.
Cool.
I know when I used to journal when I was a teenager and I stopped. I was going through a lot of different things in my life and I just like stopped doing it. And then when I started again, I didn't really know how to do it. And I was kind of like, dear diary, today I did this and that, and that felt really like dumb to me. It didn't feel good for me. So I stopped again. And then when I realized how important it actually was and how pivotal it could be in helping me figure out where I was at, starting with a question is a really good way. So like, what do I need right now? Or if you're struggling with something, like, why don't I want to do that? Or why do I feel like I want to do that? Or what about this needs to get done and what doesn't need to get done? Just things like that. Figuring out where your priorities are is really key.
Cool.
My children are distracted.
That's perfect for this training though, right?
Yeah, I'm very thankful that their dad is out there running around with them and keeping them from hanging on the door. So I'm sorry, now I got off track. What were we talking about? Journaling and like finding our balance for ourselves in our days. So yeah, just being intentional when you're trying to figure out what you need. And I think also back to the health part of things, we tend to try to meet our needs with the most immediate gratifying thing, which often is something that we find in the pantry or the fridge. So being able to really stop and ask yourself, like, if you're struggling with that, if you know that you're struggling with eating when you don't really need to, but you don't know what else to do. Like I really was like an emotional eater, and I still have to talk myself through that and like employ my own coaching techniques through that, because we have hormone fluctuations and we have like daily situations that are challenging to us. So walking myself through that is really important. And I would definitely encourage anyone else to, like, if you find yourself grabbing food when you know that you don't really need food, figure out what's underneath there. Like, what do you really need instead? Because your body is looking for nourishment somewhere, and food is just the most immediate thing that we have to fill that gap.
Yep, that's the easy answer.
Yeah. So figuring it out is key. And even if you're drinking a big glass of water and waiting 20 minutes and just breathing through that bit of discomfort, if you can make a healthier choice at the end of it for yourself, it's going to be worth it. It's not going to kill you, even though it feels like it might somewhere deep down inside you. If you can like remind yourself that you're going to be okay, that's going to be helpful.
I love that. And I love that, just that quick little tip you gave too, just drink a giant glass of water and wait 20 minutes. That's huge.
And peppermint essential oil, if you really know that you're not hungry, but you feel hungry, peppermint is a great appetite suppressant, believe it or not. And it helps you clear your mind and gives you a boost of energy and all that good stuff too.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. I have that one. I'm going to have to try that out.
Yeah, give it a shot. So you can put it in some water because it's pure therapeutic grade, or you can just smell it. You can put it in the diffuser. I've got lots of diffuser blends actually for helping to calm down with the blood sugar roller coaster to stop those cravings.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And just the deep breaths too, like just breathing. We always forget, I think, as moms, to breathe. We just go through and then we find ourselves like tight chested and our jaws are all tight and our traps are all tight and we don't really know why. And it's because we haven't been letting our bodies breathe so that we can relax, and we're in that constant stress zone, right? So
yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And like, I don't have kids, just dogs, but that's a huge one even for me. Like I didn't even realize it. I never made the connection until I started going to yoga, and that yoga, it's like, wow, apparently I suck at breathing. That's a thing, I guess. Like I just forget to breathe.
It is, yeah. It's just one of those things that we just take for granted, and it's so easy to do that. And actually that moves me into joy, which is my third pillar. Being intentional about finding joy in your day is really important. And it's easy just to like go through your day and miss it. But believe it or not, we do have lots of moments that are ripe for the opportunity to really just relish in pleasure and joy, like in our day, whether it's, and I use this example in my Facebook group too, but when I'm changing my son's diaper, he doesn't always love that situation, and I don't blame him. Like, the wipes are cold. It's just like, like I wouldn't like it very much. But if we can take that and turn that into time that's just me and him, and it's just one-on-one without his big brother pulling at us or like trying to get my attention away from him. And I just like lean down and do like little nose rub with my nose. And we just turn it into this fun little intimate time. And then sometimes my hair like tickles him and he thinks it's hilarious. And so then he's laughing. And then I'm like, yes, like this is what I wanted when I thought about becoming a mom. I wanted these special moments of laughter and like joyful giggles just between me and my baby. And it's so easy to miss that in the day-to-day, diaper to diaper, laundry load to laundry load, what dishes need to be washed next so that we can have something to cook our supper on. So being intentional about finding those moments of joy. And there's something called Kairos and Chronos time. And I love talking about this. So I think it's from Latin or Greek or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but Kairos time is sort of like heavenly, otherworldly, almost like of God, like almost holy time. And Chronos time is just like our minutes, our seconds, our days, like all the things that we have to do in our schedule. So if we can start to find the Chronos time, start to find the Kairos time in our Chronos time, the Kairos time naturally amplifies itself. So it's our reticular activating system. Once we start to find those moments, we start to focus on them more. We have gratitude for them. That joy just naturally increases. So living in gratitude is a big part of that, finding things that you're thankful for in your life. And that can be a tricky one because it's understandable that some people feel like it's hard finding things to be grateful for in their circumstances and especially if you're dealing with postpartum depression, especially if you're dealing with infertility struggles. I've had 5 miscarriages. We have 2 sons. I've been pregnant 7 times. It's a journey of ups and downs, and sometimes it doesn't feel like there's much to be grateful for. But if you can step back and look at the bigger picture, I promise you that your situation is one that somebody else somewhere would be grateful to be in for some reason. If you have, even if you're going to like break it down to the really simple things, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have a bed to sleep in at night? Do you have clean water? Do you have an indoor toilet? If we can be grateful for those things that we always take for granted in society because we don't know any different. But if we can realize that it's not like that everywhere in the world and that there are people who don't have those privileges. I really struggled with children who didn't sleep through the night. My 4-year-old son just started sleeping through the night this Christmas.
Wow. That's a long time.
That's a long time. And I had another baby in between then. So waking up, dragging myself out of bed multiple times a night it's hard. Like there's
hard.
Nothing that makes that easy. But as I'm on my way to my son's room, I'm thinking about the fact that I am grateful that I can be there to comfort him when he needs me. I am grateful that I am able to put my arms around him and move myself down the hall by myself without the need for assistance of any sort. I have MS. So I'm very fortunate that I've been in remission almost since the time I was diagnosed, but I know that there might be an expiry date on that. So that's another reason why being healthy is really important to me, and like managing my stress and eating well for my body, because there's an end game that I need to think about. It's not just necessarily getting through the day to day, but it's the long term too. But that's my story, but that's the same for everyone. Our health is fragile and it can change. Even if you don't have an underlying diagnosis, anything could change, anything could happen that could change that. So being grateful for the moments that you're in and the freedom that we experience on a minute to minute basis is important. And when you can start to focus on that, it sort of begins to help ease the burden of all the other things.
I love it. I love that. We talk about like what are they? The gratitude journals a lot. So I think those things are super helpful. And I love your tips for just like getting started in there, because I think a lot of times, whether moms or not, sometimes it's just really freaking hard to find the things. So that's a great starting point. You can always be thankful for your bathroom and for your water.
Right?
Just
like
starting somewhere.
Easy to take for granted. But if we think about how our lives would look if we had to walk into the woods or to a latrine, like in the dirt, and what would our children be doing while we were doing that? And we have, most of us have some form of electronic entertainment that our children can watch. Maybe we have yards that they can go play in. There's fresh air. We have so many liberties and freedoms that just don't exist in other parts of the world.
Yeah. And that's a great way to just get started if you're struggling with stuff too. So.
And I'm not here to say that you're not grateful enough or that it's not that bad.
Right.
But I just would encourage people to take a step back outside of their circumstances and look at the global picture and realize where we fit into that in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna magically make your child sleep through the night. But it might be easier to manage your nights and your days if you can find some gratitude for the fact that you can be there for them in that.
That's awesome. Every single one of these has been so awesome. And I love your perspective on this stuff too, because it's not like most of us already know these things, right? It's just like applying these things and actually following through. So I love how this has been like super practical for how to actually like make it happen, right? We know we need to drink water. We know we need to sleep. We know we need to do these things. But thank you so much for just sharing your perspective and how you've managed to do this.
Absolutely. Well, I hope it was valuable for your viewers, and I hope that if anyone has questions, they know that they can always jump on and ask. Can I do a little plug?
Yep.
I'm running a morning routine challenge starting April 8th in my Facebook group. So it's totally free. It's a 5-day challenge. We're going to tailor everybody's morning routine to their specific needs and their situation. Just going to help you guys find what works best for you to get your day started off on the right foot.
Awesome. So how would we find that?
Come on over to Happy Healthy Moms Facebook tribe. I'll post the link, or I think you posted the link in did you?
We posted a link to a freebie. I know we did that.
Right.
So I don't know if it's attached to that or not, but we can go in and post the link to the group.
I can post it, or you can post it, or whatever. We'll figure it out. But there's going to be a link in there. There's 3 questions that I ask when people ask to join the group, and it's just so that I can make sure that I'm tailoring the content to people's needs. And I also really believe that if one of us is struggling with something, chances are that there's someone else that's dealing with it too. So as much as we sometimes want to think like this problem is super unique to me, that's not always the case. And if we can find community in that and find a way to move through it and grow from it, I think that's really beneficial to everyone. So that's why I asked the question.
I love it. I love it. And you just make sure they're humans and not spam robots too. That helps. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much again for coming in and sharing. We'll make sure and get that link up. That challenge sounds totally amazing. So anyone that's interested, definitely go check that out. Just like Karen said, if you have any questions or comments on the replay, put them in there as well. And thank you. It looks like we had 5 or 6 people hop on live at one point. So let us know any questions or feedback. And thank you so much for coming in. I'm super excited.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to invite your viewers to you can PM me if you have struggles or questions or anything, like whether you're dealing with postpartum issues or infertility or anything like that. I really want to be here to support people and help moms move forward. And
love it.
And for free.
That's that caregiver archetype right there. I love it. Cool. All right. Well, everyone have a great night. Thank you again, Karen. Have a great night. And I will talk to you all soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.